Like most of us here in the Philippines, we were raised with a concept called delicadeza. And delicadeza is a big concept, I understand, but basically it has to do with, you know what? You have some shame over the wrong things that you've done. Okay, you understand that there's an element of shame for sin. Now that's oversimplification, I understand, but it's put it in a way that we can all pick it up very quickly. More and more in Christianity, there is no shame. There is no delicadeza. There is no concept of I've done something wrong and I should feel bad about it. Paul would say there, your conscience has been seared as with a hot iron. Your conscience has been so scarred by sin that you don't feel anymore. Now in Ezekiel 23, beginning with verse 36, God says, "The Lord said to me, Son of man, you must accuse Oholah and Oholibah," which would be names that he used for Judah and the 10 tribes called Israel. "They have committed both adultery and murder, adultery by worshiping idols and murder by burning as sacrifices the children they bore to me. Furthermore, they have defiled my temple and violated my Sabbath day. On the very day that they sacrificed their children to their idols, they boldly come into my temple to worship. They came in and defiled my house." Now listen to that. The people of Israel and the people of Judah, the 10 tribes and the 2 tribes, all together, they would take their children and offer them in sacrifice to Molech, to this demon god. They'd burn their babies alive. And then when they finished that, they would go to the temple and worship God. No shame whatsoever. And God said, "They've defiled my house." Now, I know this isn't popular to preach, but I want you to understand that in a lot of these cool churches today, where everything is about grace, and you know me, I'm a believer in grace, okay? I've been preaching grace for 42 years of my life. I love salvation by grace. But grace teaches us to say no to ungodliness. Grace doesn't teach us that we can have our sin and then play with God on Sundays. And too often in these modern churches, you go get drunk on Saturday night, you have sex with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you go to pornography, you go clubbing, you go do all of your sin, and then you come to church on Sunday. I love you, Jesus. Oh, I worship you for your grace. That's not grace. God would call that the defilement of his house. You have no shame. Now, it's time that as Christians we begin to call sin, sin again, or we're never going to be able to evangelize the world. We're never going to be able to see a world change when as Christians we don't even preach salvation from sin. We preach salvation in sin. At some point, beloved, we have to challenge people's consciences once again that you don't go have your sin and then come to church and pretend to worship God. Because I'm sorry, God does not call that grace. God calls that the defilement of his house.